Every footballer on the planet tells their story through ink. David Beckham, Neymar, Messi. Their bodies are living canvases, tattoos mapping heartbreak, devotion, identity. But there is one man, perhaps the most photographed athlete in human history, who has never once allowed a needle near his skin. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro. 5 Ballon d'Ors. Over 900 career goals. The most followed human being on Instagram. Not a single tattoo. The world assumed it was vanity. That a man so obsessed with his own body simply didn't want the aesthetic disruption. They were wrong. The real reason Ronaldo has kept his skin bare for over 2 decades has nothing to do with ego. It has everything to do with what he gives away. This is not a story about football. This is a story about what a man chooses to do with the body that made him a god. February 5, 1985. Funchal, Madeira, Portugal. A small, windswept island off the western coast of continental Europe. Not a place that produces global icons. Not a place with connections, academies, or pathways to greatness. Just cliffs, ocean, and poverty. Cristiano Ronaldo was born the youngest of 4 children in a tin-roofed home shared by a family of 6. His mother, Maria Dolores, worked as a cook and a cleaner, sometimes for multiple households, to keep food on the table. His father, José Denis Aveiro, battled alcoholism throughout Cristiano's entire childhood, his wages spent before they ever reached home. There was no safety net, no inheritance, no plan B. Dolores Aveiro would later write in her memoir that the family's circumstances were so desperate when Cristiano was born, she had considered not bringing him into the world at all. That is the weight he entered life carrying, already an improbable existence. But from the moment he could walk, he had a football at his feet. His father Denis, a man who could not conquer his own demons, saw something luminous in his youngest son. He introduced Cristiano to the game. He watched from the sidelines, even on the days he could barely stand straight. For all his failures as a provider, José Denis Aveiro never stopped believing in the boy with the blistering feet and the refusal to lose. At 12 years old, Cristiano left Madeira. Sporting CP had seen enough in a 3-day trial to offer £1,500 for the child. He was taken to Lisbon, alone, a 12-year-old on the Portuguese mainland, surrounded by city kids who immediately mocked his thick Madeiran accent, his rural mannerisms, his poverty. He cried, privately, consistently, and then he trained. He didn't go home. He didn't quit. He channeled every ounce of homesickness, every taunt, every sleepless night, directly into the training ground, a habit that would define 3 decades. But just as the legend was being written, the body nearly betrayed him. At 15 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo was diagnosed with a heart condition, tachycardia, supraventricular tachycardia, to be precise. His heart would race uncontrollably, not during sprints, not during matches, but at rest. Sitting still, his heart hammered as though he were in full flight. For a professional athlete, it wasn't just a health concern. It was a potential death sentence to a career that hadn't even begun. The doctors at Sporting CP made their decision. Surgery. His mother Dolores described the procedure years later. They used a sort of laser to cauterize the source of the problem. He was operated on in the morning and came out at the end of the afternoon. She was terrified. Ronaldo was not. Within days of his heart surgery, the 15-year-old was back on the training pitch. Dolores would later say with both disbelief and pride, Cristiano wasn't very worried. It seems the treatment allowed him to run even faster. A repaired heart. An unbreakable will. The stage was being set. August 2003. Manchester, England. Cristiano Ronaldo signed for Manchester United at 18 years old. The transfer fee, £14 million. The shirt number, 7. The very number worn by Eric Cantona, by David Beckham, by legends. He was handed the weight of history before he had played a single minute. What followed was not an overnight coronation. It was a crucible. The Premier League in 2003 was not kind to flamboyant teenagers. Defenders kicked him. Crowds mocked him. His stepovers were met with scorn, theatrical, wasteful, foreign. English football demanded pragmatism. Ronaldo demanded to be himself. Season by season, he evolved. The tricks became weapons, not decorations. The pace became devastating rather than dazzling. Under Sir Alex Ferguson's patient guidance, the showman became a winner. By 2007-08, Cristiano Ronaldo was the best player on earth. Manchester United vs Chelsea. Moscow, May 2008. One of the greatest club finals in the history of the competition. Ronaldo opened the scoring with a towering header in the 26th minute. United won on penalties. Ronaldo lifted the trophy. It was, at that moment, the defining night of his career, and he was only 23 years old. He had already scored 42 goals that season. He won the Ballon d'Or. He was named UEFA Player of the Year, FIFA Pro World Player of the Year, PFA Players Player of the Year. In a single campaign, Cristiano Ronaldo rendered every argument about his talent entirely irrelevant. And then he moved to the biggest club in the world. Real Madrid. 2009, a world record transfer fee of £80 million. The Galacticos. The Bernabeu. The white shirt and the expectation of God. In 9 seasons in Madrid, he scored 450 goals in 438 appearances. He became Real Madrid's all-time leading scorer. He won 4 Champions League titles, 4 Ballon d'Ors with the club, and became the only player in recorded history to score 20 or more goals in 12 consecutive seasons across Europe's top 5 leagues. The numbers are not statistics. They are testimony. And every time he ripped that shirt off, in Madrid, in Manchester, in Turin, in Lisbon, the world saw the same thing. An unmarked body. No ink. No sleeves. No names etched across his chest. Just skin. The cameras always paused on it. In a sport where tattoos are almost a professional rite of passage, Ronaldo's bare skin was conspicuous. Unusual. Almost defiant. The world asked the question. In 2012, Ronaldo finally answered. In an interview with Italian outlet Diretta, Ronaldo stated simply, "I don't have tattoos so that I can donate blood more often." 11 words. No press conference. No campaign. No performance. Just the truth. Section 4. The catalyst / the core struggle. To understand what blood donation means to Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to go back to a specific moment. A specific conversation. A teammate's devastation. Carlos Martins was a Portuguese international who played alongside Ronaldo for the national team. In the years they shared that dressing room, Martins received news that would shatter any parent. His son was gravely ill. The only hope was a bone marrow transplant. Ronaldo spoke about what happened next in an interview with Spanish radio station Cadena Cope. He said, "It was the time when Carlos was with us in the national team. He told us about the problem with his son, and we, the players, showed great unity to help him and his son because we knew it was a very complicated situation." Ronaldo donated bone marrow, not blood money, not a charity gala appearance, not a social media post asking others to give while he watched from a distance. He rolled up his sleeve and gave what was inside him. He addressed the fear surrounding bone marrow donation directly. It is something a lot of people think is a difficult thing to do, but it's nothing more than drawing blood and doesn't hurt. I did it many years ago, and if I had to do it again, I would. Because this is a very serious disease for many children, and we need to help them. That moment, a sick child, a desperate teammate, a dressing room that chose solidarity over silence, fundamentally shaped how Cristiano Ronaldo understood his own body. Not as a brand, not as a spectacle, as a resource. He became a regular blood donor, multiple times per year. The science is simple. Anyone who receives a tattoo must wait at least 4 months before donating blood again. In the UK and Spain, the 2 countries where Ronaldo spent the majority of his career, that waiting period is mandatory. For months, every single time, Ronaldo decided it wasn't worth it. In 2015, he became the face of a global blood donation awareness campaign, telling Eurosport, "We can all make a difference by donating blood. Each donation can benefit up to 3 people in emergency situations and for long-term medical treatments. That's why I importance of blood donation around the world to become lifelong in 2007, he donated blood twice and documented not as a man, but as a deliberate act. The man who was player in history, one that has nothing to do with it. Now consider what that blank canvas is. Not a man too arrogant for self-expression. Not a man too vain to embrace culture. A man who, every time he steps into a tattoo parlor in his mind and walks back out again, is choosing someone in an emergency room over a piece of art on his own skin. His father, Jose Dinis Avero, died in 2005 from kidney failure, the consequence of a lifetime of alcoholism. Ronaldo was 20 years old, playing for Manchester United, still new to England, still homesick. His father never saw him win the Champions League, never saw the Ballon d'Ors, never saw the records fall. He once said, wiping away tears, "My father, he saw nothing. He died young. But it is what it is." 5 words of stoicism masking a wound that never fully healed. When his mother Dolores was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2007, Ronaldo donated £165,000 to fund a cancer treatment center at the Portuguese hospital that treated her. Quietly, without fanfare, he has paid for brain surgery for a 10-month-old baby. He donated $1.7 million to children in Gaza in 2012. He has used his bone marrow, his blood, and his money, not as gestures, but as commitments. The man the world sees is all ego and ambition and desire. The man beneath that performance has been giving parts of himself away, quietly, consistently, since he was a teenager on the Lisbon Peninsula, learning what it meant to not have enough. Section 5. The final chapter/legacy. Today, Cristiano Ronaldo continues playing professional football at an age when most players are long retired. And as the 2026 FIFA World Cup in North America approaches, Portugal and the football world watches to see whether this will be Ronaldo's final opportunity to claim the one trophy that has eluded him. He carried Portugal to the European Championship in 2016. Though injury forced him from the field in the final, he watched from the touchline, tears streaming, urging his teammates on. They won. He lifted the trophy. But the World Cup has remained just beyond reach. A tournament that history demands he conquer before the curtain falls. Whether 2026 delivers that moment or not, whether the story ends in triumph or in heartbreak, Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy was never going to be defined by a single tournament. It was being built long before any trophy was at stake. It was built by a 12-year-old who refused to go home when it would have been so easy to go home. By a 15-year-old who climbed off a surgical table and went straight back to training. By a 20-year-old who buried his father before his career had truly begun and kept scoring goals through the grief. By a global superstar who, at the height of his fame, chose to give his blood rather than decorate his skin with it. The question the world asked was simple. Why doesn't Cristiano Ronaldo have tattoos? The answer, it turns out, tells you everything about who he actually is. Not the brand, not the celebration, not the statue of himself erected at Madeira's airport. The man who grew up with nothing and learned early, in a way that the privileged never fully understand, that giving something away is far more powerful than keeping it for yourself. The pitch will one day fall quiet for him. The records will be broken. The trophies will gather dust. But somewhere, in an emergency room in Portugal, or a children's ward in Lisbon, or a hospital anywhere in the world that blood reaches in time, there is someone still alive because a boy from Madeira chose to keep his skin clean.